Hello YouTube, it's your girl Kimberly and I am back in a new video. This video is going to be a little different than my other videos. It is a travel video, so I do have a lot of travel tip videos and I will leave them in, some of them in the description below, but I never really go in depth in terms of reviews of the places that I go and things I see and my experience. So I really use a lot of reviews to help me plan my travel, so I thought let me give back to the YouTuberverse by starting to do my own reviews for the place I go to. So this is going to be a video review of the Wyndham Tortola British Virgin Islands Lambert Beach Resort. So here I'm going to insert some pictures, show you guys the food, my room, the beach, so you guys can see what the property looks like, and then I will come back and give you guys my 2 cents about what I think about staying here. Alright, so now that you guys have seen the place, I will say that the website pictures are not an accurate depiction of the current state of the room. If you're familiar with HGTV, they like have a software where they show the software rendering of what the room could be designed like, and then later in the show they show you the room. That's similar to what they did here. So it's very clear that the pictures on the website are computer generated images and they're not actual photos of the room. So definitely I have some photos of my room, but if you want to see photos of all the rooms, go to TripAdvisor or one of those kinds of websites, because the pictures there are not the best representation in terms of a real feel of what the room looks like. I don't want to say that it's a false representation, because it's the same furniture, the same paint setups. Like that is what the room could look like, but it's clearly a new shiny computer generated version and not what a real room looks like. So that's what I'm trying to say. So definitely not a 4-star hotel, definitely not a 5-star hotel, definitely not a 4-star hotel, but it is a solid 3. Of course, once you see that name resort in there and once you see the prices, you're very much like, what, 3? It is a 3-star. It's not that fancy, but you'll be safe. It's mostly clean, and I still had a really enjoyable trip, and I stayed there for a week. So that's the overall high view. So I'll leave the specifics in terms of what like I said, I stayed for a week. So I'll leave the specifics in terms of what my stay ended up coming up to in terms of the price. But I will say that per night I ended up paying, with taxes and fees, about $314. And I will say that if you go in the shoulder season, when it's the off season for the Caribbean, I went in February, which is the high season, so that's the most expensive time. But if you go in the off season, I did see that the prices dipped as low as $165. So if you're looking for a deal, you know, consider the off season. The rooms are old. Like I said, the pictures are clearly from a design software. They do not reflect what the rooms look like in real life. So let's start with the good about the place. The beach is beautiful and quiet. There was very minimal sea. I think it was like 4 or 5 days before I saw any seaweed on the beach. It's calm, it's quiet, because it's only the people who are staying either at the resort or at the timeshares, or there's like a few other like little houses and stuff, but it's very, very quiet, peaceful, serene beach where you can hear the waves rolling in. Ugh, I'm just like picturing it. It's so beautiful. In terms of wildlife on the beach, I think I saw one crab, a few insects, but nothing that was biting, or like no sand flies or anything like that, but no real beach wildlife that you have to worry about. So and I say that because when I went to Costa Rica, I definitely set up my beach chair on the beach and came back and there was an iguana on my towel. Like, this is my beach chair now, girl. Thanks for setting it up. So no wildlife like that, but definitely a really calm, serene beach. You can step out a pretty good ways before the water gets really high. The waves are a little rough, but in terms of just like wading, enjoying the beach water, I definitely think you can do that. Okay, so the beach is a good point. Another good thing, the food. The dinner was the best meal in my opinion compared to breakfast, lunch. And when I say lunch, I mean like the sandwich options. So like compared to the burger and the like the BLT, that kind of stuff. The best options were the stew mutton, the chicken roti. All of the real kind of Caribbean themed recipes for dinner were really good. I also had the lobster, which was like a spiny Caribbean lobster instead of a Maine lobster, which was really good. The steak with the blue cheese was really good. Blue cheese kind of sauce. So really delicious food. The food was really good. What I will say about the food is, although the food was good, the prices are high. I live in New York, so the restaurant prices were comparable to what I usually spend at a restaurant. So I understand that for people who don't live in New York, those prices are high. So definitely I would say the average meal for me ended up probably like around $40, because I was also getting 2 drinks. So, you know, the mimosas at breakfast, you know, little margaritas and stuff at night. It definitely was adding up. And there is no meal plan, so you have to pay per meal. So definitely, there's a lot of people who got cabs and stuff to take them to supermarkets. So they brought back food because they had more of the suite style kind of rooms. I just had a regular hotel room, and on vacation, my preference is not to cook. So I was going to the restaurant for every meal. And I did do some excursions that included meals, so that also too. So then I didn't eat there every meal, but most meals I ate there. I would say I went on excursions probably like 2 or 3 days where I had lunch on there at the excursion. But you know, the food was good. It tasted good. It was just, sorry about that. Random phone ring, crazy, right? So let's talk about the bad things. The pool. So the pool was green. And not because the bottom was painted green, it's because the water was green. So it does take a lot of chemicals and upkeep to keep these pools crystal clear, beautiful looking, and that was not being done. When the machinery came out to clean the pool, it looked like it was from the 1950s. They did not have the pool little cleaning robot. They didn't have any of the modern equipment that you would expect a resort of this price to keep the pool clean. So the pool was, the first day I arrived there, the pool was solid green. It was gross looking. There's a lot of TripAdvisor reviews that will also corroborate that. In the middle of my trip, so I got there on a Monday, I would say about Wednesday is when I saw them take out the pool cleaning machine and clean the pool. And that was when I felt comfortable. Okay, now I can actually get in the pool. Right, so coming back at you with the bad, unfortunately. My camera died, so I had to get a little creative. Alright, so we set the pool green. Once they cleaned it, it was clean for that day. The next day it was okay, but then after that she went back to green, and I was like, this is not good at all, especially for the cost of this resort. I can imagine if you have kids love the pool. The whole time they're looking forward to it. There was so many parents who like begrudgingly let their kids get in the water, and they was like, and then of course once it's dinner time, all the kids are like itchy and weird, and they're like, oh, it was a pool. But who wants to say no to their kids in the pool? But the pool was definitely green. The reviews are true on that. No entertainment. It says resort in the name, so when somebody says resort, there's a certain amount of amenities. You expect to get, you know, a drink when you first check in. None of that. None of that. Not even some. It's funny, I went to a resort in Mexico, and they gave us, what did they give us when we checked in? It was cucumber water. Like, it wasn't even alcohol, but it was just a nice, refreshing drink after our long, sad journey from the airport and traveling from the morning and just having a long day and finally getting to the location and just being like, here's a refreshing drink. That was really nice. They give you nothing. The key to the room is a literal key, like to your house door. It's not a hotel key. There's no bands to make paying for things and doing things easier. It's real old school. And not only do you have a key for the door, then there's like a key for the safe. Because it has the codes, but you can't just do the code. You have the code and the key. So you end up having like 2 or 3 little keys by the time you leave. It's a lot. Yeah, so no entertainment, no modern touches, everything old school. There's no TV. You basically have to watch Netflix. So they have a Netflix account, and the room is signed into a Netflix, and then you can watch Netflix. But like, if you want to see like local weather, what's going on in the area, there's no local television access. Rolling blackouts. So I do know that this is a thing in Caribbean islands. However, I thought there'd be like a workaround for that, but there wasn't. Just rolled on through. Blackout. But it didn't last long. They were super quick. It was like 1 or 2 seconds, lights, TV shut off, and then everything would boot back up all over again. But it did happen like 4 times. I was like, I don't know if I like that. And then the service. So the service is super slow. So for every meal, it took at least 35 to 50 minutes for me to get food in front of me. So that's from, even for my drink, the last night when I had dinner and I got a Prosecco, I literally watched the Prosecco sit on the bar for like 15 minutes. And then I'm like, all right, I'm gonna just get up and get it myself. And then eventually, I guess they saw me with no drink, and then they were like, oh, her Prosecco, and gave it to me. Everything is super slow. Now, I do know it's very much so, you know, island time. So I'm not expecting quick, fast service. That's an unrealistic expectation. But I am expecting within 15, 30 minutes, something should be on my table. A drink, a roll. There, later in the days, some waiters did bring bread. And then, especially since they were going slow, but it's a pretty small menu. It's not Cheesecake Factory. So I'm just like, why is nobody ready? They had one vegetable generic side that was basically with everything. And then you could either pick white rice or mashed potatoes. Or there was like a roasted potato option. 3 sides, like a few salads that all had romaine lettuce, no matter what kind of salad it was. Like, what is taking so long back there? And there's a pretty good sized staff considering the size of the restaurant and the place. There were some nights when it did rain, so then like the little outdoor eatery, they had to transition those people inside because of the rain. So, you know, I was definitely giving them grace those nights. But the other nights and for mornings, if you have excursions and stuff, don't think you're going to grab a quick 15-minute breakfast and make it on time for your cab to go to the excursion. You will be late. Make sure if you're supposed to leave in the cab at 8, well, breakfast I think started at 7 or 7:30. Well, try to get there an hour early, so that way you can make sure you get your food and everything. Or just directly straight up ask, like, can you pack the breakfast to go, and we'll just sit here and eat it out of to-go containers, and then when we gotta run for the cab, we'll just take it with us. Like, try to make sure you work that out in advance, because like I said, the food service is so slow. And then also the people at the front desk, they're helpful. Like, they will get you cabs and stuff like that. They'll tell you about how far something is, give you kind of quotes for going to places and what you should expect and what will be there. They did give a lot of information. And the top bad thing about this is that it's not all inclusive. I understand that, you know, every resort is not all inclusive, but when you are, it just gives you that extra edge up that makes me, when I'm not counting not counting everything, but when I don't have to pay attention to paying bills, and even if it wasn't all inclusive, if there was like the bracelet where then I wouldn't have to carry my wallet and my credit card and I could just go around the resort and just swipe and do stuff, I think that would have made my experience much better. I think I would have gave them a pass on a lot of things, because there was a lot of times when I was just waiting on people to pay for stuff, and I was just like, if I could have just boop, and then we could have just boop and been out, it would have made it a lot more better. Even though it's not inclusive, I still would have appreciated that. So I will definitely say a solid 3 stars. The beach made it worth the money for me, because I did end up going to other beaches on Tortola, and because the cruise ships come to the island, the people from the ships come to those beaches. So if you want a beach where it's going to be like quiet and serene, and you don't have to deal with the hustle and bustle of other beaches, it's worth it for me in terms of the price. But the beach is the highlight. It's the best thing there. If you're looking for other things besides the beach, then you're probably going to be disappointed. But like I said, a strong 3 stars. If I go back to Tortola, would I stay there? There's a number of other resorts / hotels that are kind of like in other little nooks and crannies in the island. This is the east end. So whenever I wanted to do any activities or excursions, a lot of them were leaving from the west end or from the middle of the island. So then I had to basically commute to all the activities, so it was nice because it was quieter and less hustle and bustle around the resort, but it is all the way on one side of the island compared to being in the middle, where you could then go to both sides of the island, or being at the west end where all the activities and stuff already are. So good place. Definitely would say do your research so you know what you're getting into, in terms of what your expectations are and what you're looking for. But I had a great time. I'm not sure, I would definitely go back to Tortola. Not sure if I would come back to this place, because like I said, it was just so far. Whenever I wanted to do everything, it was like, oh, it's a 45-minute cab ride, an hour cab ride, and I was like, oh my god, there's nothing over here. So that was a little disappointing about the location. But I love the beach, and the beach was beautiful, and it was amazing, uncrowded, never fought for a beach chair, peaceful, serene. Loved it. So thank you so much for watching my video. I hope this video was helpful, because I know a lot of the reviews are people who are at the resort kind of like swinging around and showing it and not really kind of talking through the things that are important to you. So if you have any questions about the resort, leave them in the comment section below, and I will try to answer them in a timely fashion, because I know how this booking life is. You start looking on Monday because you got to book by Thursday. So I really want to try and be helpful to you guys. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.